Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to address a silent enemy. An enemy that doesn't come dressed in obvious harm but drains the very life force from your spirit, the negative people in your life. Now, there's no denying it, we've all encountered them. Some, unfortunately, live very close to us. Some may even share your table. But let me tell you something very clearly today. It is your responsibility to guard your energy, to protect your peace. So who are these energy drainers that we must learn to identify and create boundaries around? The chronic complainers, they never see the sunshine, only the storm. Every conversation is another lament about life's challenges, but there is no search for solutions. Listen to me, your mind is too valuable to be a dumping ground for complaints without the intent for change. If you spend too much time with them, you'll find yourself speaking their language, and the things you once celebrated will start to fade into the background. The energy vampires, these people feed on negativity. They are constantly immersed in a sea of problems, and if you're not careful, they'll pull you under too. They thrive on conflict, on cynicism, and they carry a dark cloud everywhere they go. After just a short interaction, you'll feel as if your spirit has been drained dry. But here's the truth, you can't pour from an empty cup. Refuse to let anyone siphon off your joy. The victims, these are the people who believe that life has singled them out for suffering. They have a narrative of helplessness, and while there is empathy to be had, there is a point where it becomes toxic. Understand this, people who always see themselves as victims will never rise to victory. They will constantly tell you why they can't, why the world is against them. If you don't create a boundary, you will soon start internalizing their limits as your own. The manipulators now, these people are dangerous. They wear masks. They know how to twist situations, words, and emotions to suit their agenda. They are subtle, but their aim is always to control. They will use guilt, obligation, and even affection as tools to get what they want. But you must learn to discern these tactics and take a stand. Setting boundaries with manipulators is not just important, it's a matter of emotional survival. The envious, these are the individuals who can't celebrate the success of others. They are always looking at life through the lens of comparison. They'll criticize your dreams, belittle your accomplishments, and in doing so, try to dim your light. But let me say this, you don't need to shrink for anyone. The people who belong in your life will cheer for you, not secretly hope for your downfall. Finally, the drama magnets, the ones who create chaos wherever they go. They find ways to turn simple situations into a hurricane of conflict. They live for tension, for unnecessary confrontation, and their appetite for drama knows no bounds. But hear this, your peace is too precious to be disturbed by their constant turbulence. You must guard your peace with ferocity. My friends, it is crucial that you understand this setting boundaries is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of love. Love for yourself, for your purpose, and for the life you've been entrusted with. You owe it to yourself to surround yourself with people who lift you, not drain you. People who believe in solutions, not just problems. People who celebrate your victories, not envy them. You will guard your energy and you will guard your destiny. We all know someone who seems to find fault with everything around them. No matter how bright the day, how successful the venture, or how fortunate the moment, they always manage to zero in on what's wrong. These individuals will complain about the weather on a sunny day or grumble about their meal at a banquet. Nothing is ever good enough, and they seem to carry an invisible list of grievances that grows by the minute. The problem with the chronic complainer is not just that they bring up negative issues, it's that they rarely, if ever, seek solutions. You see, complaining in itself isn't always the issue. We all have moments when we need to express frustration or talk through difficulties. But the chronic complainer lives in that space. Instead of using complaints as a way to identify problems and move forward, they wallow in them. And if you spend too much time in their company, you'll notice how their negative energy begins to seep into your own thinking. The things you used to be excited about now seem unimportant. You might begin to see obstacles where once you saw opportunities. This is the true cost of allowing complainers to remain unchecked in your life. They shift your perspective without you even realizing it. Now, let me tell you something that is crucial. You are not responsible for fixing the mindset of a chronic complainer. That is not your burden to carry. What you are responsible for is protecting your own mental space, your own optimism, your own capacity to see the beauty in life. If someone comes to you with complaints, by all means, offer them empathy. But do not allow that to become a pattern where they continuously drain your energy without any effort to change their situation. Here's the thing about chronic complainers: they often aren't even looking for advice or solutions. They're just looking for a sounding board. They want someone to validate their negativity, to agree with their perspective that the world is a terrible place. But if you entertain that too often, you become part of the problem. You become their sounding board, and your own sense of joy and fulfillment gets chipped away, one complaint at a time. So what's the solution? It's simple: boundaries. You need to set clear boundaries with chronic complainers, making it known that while you can be compassionate, you will not indulge in endless negativity. Sometimes this means changing the subject to something more constructive. Other times it might mean limiting the time you spend with them altogether. If you're not careful, their words will plant seeds of doubt, fear, and dissatisfaction in your own life. And those seeds, if left unchecked, will grow into weeds that choke the garden of your dreams. Your time is too precious to spend it constantly listening to what's wrong with the world. Your energy is too valuable to be absorbed by someone else's pessimism. Remember, your environment influences you more than you realize. Surround yourself with people who speak life, not those who drain it. In the end, it's not just about setting boundaries with others. It's about protecting your own mindset and your ability to thrive. There are people in life who, without saying much, seem to drain every bit of vitality from you. They don't have to raise their voice or even express their negativity directly. Simply being in their presence can leave you feeling exhausted, weighed down by their emotional baggage and constant pessimism. These are the energy vampires. Unlike the chronic complainers, they might not vocalize their dissatisfaction, but they carry a heavy, oppressive energy that seeps into everything around them. Every interaction with an energy vampire feels like a one-sided exchange where you leave feeling depleted while they walk away feeling lighter, having unloaded their negativity onto you. You might enter a conversation full of excitement, joy, or enthusiasm, but after a short time you find yourself feeling drained. The challenge with these people is that their negativity isn't always obvious. It can be subtle: a look, a tone of voice, or just their overall presence. It's like they carry an emotional vacuum, and the moment they step into your space, you feel your energy being pulled away. Energy vampires are often the ones who are constantly caught up in personal dramas, emotional crises, or endless conflicts. They thrive in chaos and negativity, and because they are always in a state of internal turmoil, they unknowingly draw on the energy of others to sustain themselves. They never seem to have a positive outlook or a solution to their problems. They live in a perpetual state of emotional crisis, and they expect others to join them there. You need to be vigilant in identifying these individuals because their influence is subtle yet profound. You may not even realize the impact they're having on you until it's too late. After spending time with them, you'll start to notice that your mood has shifted, your enthusiasm has dwindled, and the things that once brought you joy now feel like burdens. But here's the truth: you are responsible for your own energy. You cannot allow others to drain you to the point where you have nothing left for yourself. Guarding your energy is not selfish, it's essential. If you don't protect your vitality, who will? You are the only one who can decide who has access to your emotional and mental resources. One of the most important steps you can take is to limit the time you spend with energy vampires. If possible, avoid prolonged conversations where they are likely to pull you into their emotional quicksand. If avoidance isn't an option, be mindful of how much you engage with their negativity. You can listen without absorbing. You can empathize without allowing them to pull you into their downward spiral. Another critical aspect of protecting yourself from energy vampires is setting emotional boundaries. You need to let them know, either directly or indirectly, that you will not be a constant receptacle for their emotional chaos. It's important to recognize that their issues are not your responsibility to fix. Your energy is sacred, and you have to preserve it for the things that truly matter: your purpose, your goals, and your well-being. In your journey toward fulfilling your potential, you need to surround yourself with people who uplift you, not those who drain you. People who inspire you to reach higher, not those who pull you down into the depths of negativity. Remember, your energy is the fuel that drives your success, your happiness, and your purpose. Protect it fiercely, because once it's drained, it's hard to replenish. Keep your space clear of those who sap your strength, and make room for those who bring light, hope, and positivity into your life. There are some people who live their lives believing that the world is constantly against them. They carry a mindset that paints them as the perpetual victim of circumstances, unable to see how their own choices, actions, and mindset play a part in shaping their reality. These individuals walk around with a narrative that life happens to them, not through them. Every setback, every challenge is interpreted as further evidence that they are destined to suffer, while others succeed. They find comfort in the role of the victim because it absolves them of the responsibility to change, to grow, or to rise above. What makes the victim mentality so dangerous is that it is often cloaked in the appearance of helplessness. At first glance, it may seem like these individuals are simply seeking support, a listening ear, or understanding. But what becomes clear over time is that they are not looking for solutions. They are looking for validation of their belief that the world is unfair to them. And as long as they can reinforce that belief, they remain trapped in a cycle of defeat. When you engage with someone who constantly plays the victim, you might initially feel a sense of empathy. You want to help, to offer advice, to lend your support. But you soon realize that no matter what solutions you offer, they are never adopted. Every suggestion is met with "that won't work because," or "you don't understand my situation." Their problems are always bigger than your solutions. Over time, this drains your energy because you find yourself pouring into someone who is unwilling to take the necessary steps to change their circumstances. The danger of being around those who embrace a victim mentality is that their perspective can start to shape your own. When you constantly hear how the world is stacked against them, you may begin to question your own ability to overcome challenges. You might start to adopt their language of defeat and doubt, and before you know it, their limitations start to feel like your own. This is why it is crucial to recognize when someone is stuck in a victim mindset and to set firm boundaries around how much of their narrative you allow into your life. Understand this: life happens to everyone. Challenges, setbacks, and difficulties are a universal experience. What separates those who rise from those who remain stagnant is their response to those challenges. Victims choose to stay in the problem, while victors look for solutions. And if you allow yourself to be too closely tied to someone who is committed to staying in victimhood, you risk adopting a similar mindset. The key to dealing with these individuals is understanding that you are not responsible for their growth. You cannot fix someone who refuses to take accountability for their own life. You can offer support, yes, but there comes a point where continued engagement only enables their pattern of helplessness. You need to protect your own mindset by recognizing that just because they see life as a series of uncontrollable events doesn't mean you have to. Boundaries with the victim mentality are essential for your own well-being. You must learn to listen without absorbing. You can show compassion without becoming entangled in their drama. More importantly, you need to remember that your purpose, your dreams, and your own journey require all of your energy and focus. You cannot afford to be weighed down by someone else's refusal to step into their own power. At the end of the day, everyone has the power to change their narrative, but only if they choose to. The best way to help those with a victim mentality is by showing them through your own life that it's possible to rise above any challenge. But you must protect your space and your energy, because it's easy to be pulled into the quicksand of their endless excuses if you're not careful. Keep your focus on those who are committed to growth, not those who are committed to staying stuck. Manipulators are perhaps the most subtle and dangerous of all the negative personalities you will encounter. They often appear charming, kind, or even vulnerable, but beneath that surface lies a calculated agenda. Manipulators are masterful at twisting situations to suit their needs, whether it's through guilt, flattery, deception, or even passive-aggressive behavior. Their goal is not just to get what they want, but to do so in a way that makes you feel obligated or responsible for their happiness, success, or comfort. One of the most telling traits of a manipulator is their ability to make you question your own decisions and feelings. You might find yourself agreeing to things you initially didn't want to, or feeling responsible for their well-being in ways that leave you emotionally or mentally exhausted. The manipulator uses subtle tactics to exert control, making you feel like saying no is a betrayal, or that setting boundaries is an act of cruelty. They thrive on keeping you emotionally entangled, making it difficult for you to recognize that their needs are consistently being placed above your own. What's particularly insidious about manipulators is that they don't just come with outright demands. Instead, they pull strings behind the scenes, carefully crafting situations where you feel compelled to act in their favor. Often they will use emotions as their primary tool. They might make you feel guilty for not spending enough time with them, or they might imply that your actions or lack thereof are causing them distress. By doing this, they turn your empathy into a weapon, exploiting your good nature to fulfill their own desires. But here's the key: you are not responsible for someone else's emotional state, especially when it is being used as a tool for manipulation. You have to be vigilant and aware of these tactics, because manipulators rely on the fact that you'll feel too guilty to walk away or set boundaries. They create an emotional debt that you never agreed to take on, making you feel obligated to keep giving, even when you know deep down it's draining you. Another tactic they employ is to shift the blame when things go wrong. If a situation doesn't go as planned, they will find a way to make it seem as though it was your fault, or at the very least, they will avoid taking any responsibility. This constant shifting of blame leaves you feeling confused and even questioning your own role in the situation. They use manipulation to avoid accountability, all while keeping you caught in a cycle of self-doubt and guilt. So how do you deal with manipulators? First, you must recognize the signs. Understand when someone is using emotional manipulation to steer you into decisions or actions that serve their needs over your own. Once you've identified their behavior, the next step is to set firm boundaries. This is where many people struggle, because manipulators are experts at making you feel like setting boundaries is a form of betrayal. But it's essential to your emotional well-being. You need to learn how to say no without feeling guilty. You must trust your instincts and recognize that someone else's discomfort or dissatisfaction with your boundaries is not your responsibility. The manipulator thrives on making you feel like the bad guy for protecting your own interests, but you have to stay strong. Boundaries are not about shutting people out. They are about preserving your peace and protecting yourself from emotional exploitation. It's also important to avoid engaging in their emotional traps. Manipulators often thrive on drama, and they will try to pull you into long, drawn-out discussions or arguments that only serve to confuse and drain you. Keep your interactions straightforward and to the point. Do not get pulled into their emotional whirlwind. Remember, your energy, your time, and your emotional space are sacred. You cannot allow manipulators to take advantage of your kindness or empathy. You are not here to serve someone else's agenda at the expense of your own well-being. Recognize their tactics, set your boundaries, and stand firm in your decision to prioritize your peace. In the end, dealing with manipulators is not just about stopping them from controlling you. It's about reclaiming your own power and protecting your emotional freedom. The envious person is someone who can never truly celebrate the success, happiness, or progress of others. They may smile on the surface, but underneath there's a deep-seated resentment whenever someone achieves something they themselves desire but haven't yet attained. The envious don't just want success, they want others to fail so that their shortcomings feel justified. They operate from a scarcity mindset, believing that there's only so much happiness, wealth, or recognition to go around, and if you get yours, it means there's less for them. This mindset makes them dangerous to your growth because they will subtly and sometimes overtly undermine your progress. You may notice that the envious person often downplays your achievements. If you tell them about a promotion or personal victory, they might offer faint praise or quickly change the subject. Instead of supporting your rise, they find ways to plant seeds of doubt. They might say things like, well, let's see how long that lasts, or are you sure that's as good as it sounds? These small, cutting comments are meant to dampen your enthusiasm, to pull you back down to their level. And if you're not careful, you might begin to internalize their doubts, second-guessing your own success and accomplishments. Another tactic of the envious is to make you feel guilty for your achievements. They might suggest that your success is somehow unfair or unearned, subtly implying that you don't deserve what you've worked hard to attain. This can make you feel hesitant to share your wins or even guilty for enjoying the fruits of your labor. The truth is, you've earned every step of your journey, and someone else's inability to appreciate that is not your problem. But the envious person will make it seem as though your success is the source of their dissatisfaction, projecting their insecurities onto you. The envious thrive in an environment of comparison. They constantly measure their worth against others and resent anyone who appears to be ahead. Instead of being inspired by someone else's success, they feel diminished by it. The dangerous part of this is that their envy can manifest in ways that sabotage relationships, both personal and professional. They might spread rumors, undermine your work, or subtly steer others away from you, all because your success makes them uncomfortable. It's important to recognize that envy is not just about jealousy, it's about insecurity. The envious person is deeply insecure about their own life, their own progress, and their own worth. Instead of looking inward and addressing those insecurities, they project them outward, turning their envy into hostility toward others. They may even go as far as trying to block opportunities for you out of fear that your continued success will further highlight their lack. Dealing with envy requires both awareness and boundaries. First, you need to be able to spot when someone's behavior is rooted in envy. Sometimes it's obvious, like when they openly criticize your success, but other times it can be more subtle, like when they never seem to genuinely support your growth. Pay attention to how people react to your achievements. True friends and allies will celebrate with you, while the envious will find ways to diminish or dismiss your progress. Once you've identified someone's envy, you must protect yourself from it. This doesn't mean cutting people off immediately, but it does mean being selective about how much of your journey you share with them. You don't need to constantly broadcast your success to those who can't celebrate it. Instead, surround yourself with people who are genuinely happy for you, who lift you up, and who inspire you to keep growing. Most importantly, never allow someone's envy to cause you to shrink. Do not dim your light to make others feel comfortable in their darkness. Your achievements, your progress, and your happiness are yours to embrace fully. You have worked for them, and you deserve to enjoy them without guilt or hesitation. The envious will try to pull you back down, but you must rise above their negativity. Their envy is a reflection of their own limitations, not yours. In the end, it's crucial to remember that your success doesn't take away from anyone else's potential to succeed. There is more than enough room at the top for everyone willing to put in the work. But if someone is determined to stay stuck in envy, that is their choice. Your job is to keep moving forward, to keep growing, and to keep surrounding yourself with those who understand that another person's victory is not a threat, but an inspiration. Drama magnets are those individuals who seem to attract chaos and conflict wherever they go. Their lives are always filled with some form of crisis, and they are more than willing to pull others into their whirlwind of emotional and social turmoil. Whether it's a personal issue, a relationship problem, or workplace conflict, the drama magnet thrives on constant upheaval and wants you to be a part of it. They don't just want support, they want an audience. Their problems are always urgent, always dramatic, and always center around them. Being around a drama magnet can feel like riding a roller coaster with no brakes. One day they might be overjoyed, the next they are consumed by outrage or sadness. This inconsistency keeps you emotionally hooked, as you never know what kind of situation they'll pull you into next. The danger with these individuals is that they demand your attention, your time, and your emotional energy, often making it feel like it's your responsibility to help resolve their issues. But the truth is, drama magnets rarely want resolution. They thrive on the attention that drama brings them, and so they have little interest in actually solving their problems. What's more, drama magnets have a way of turning minor issues into major crises. A small disagreement becomes a monumental betrayal in their eyes. A minor inconvenience is blown out of proportion. They will involve as many people as possible in their conflicts, often drawing you into situations that have nothing to do with you. This is how they maintain their sense of importance, by creating chaos and positioning themselves at the center of it. You may find that no matter how much advice or support you offer, the drama in their life never seems to subside. That's because the drama magnet isn't seeking solutions, they're seeking engagement. They want the emotional roller coaster to continue because it provides them with the attention and validation they crave. It's important to understand that these individuals don't just attract drama, they create it. And if you're not careful, you can become entangled in the endless cycle of conflict and emotional instability. Drama magnets also have a way of shifting blame when things go wrong. They will never take full responsibility for their role in creating chaos. Instead, they paint themselves as the victim of other people's actions or circumstances. This victimhood further fuels their need for attention, as they constantly seek sympathy and reassurance from those around them. Over time, this becomes exhausting for those who are drawn into their orbit. The key to dealing with a drama magnet is recognizing that their chaos does not have to become yours. You are not obligated to fix their problems, and you are not responsible for the emotional roller coaster they choose to ride. Setting firm boundaries is essential when dealing with these individuals. You can listen and offer support, but do not allow yourself to be pulled into their drama-filled narrative. Limit your involvement in their crises and avoid getting emotionally invested in every twist and turn of their story. It's also important to be aware of how much time and energy you're spending on their issues. Drama magnets can easily consume your focus, leaving little room for your own needs, goals, or peace of mind. You need to protect your emotional space by not allowing their constant crises to become the center of your attention. Learn to detach from their chaos and maintain a healthy distance. Ultimately, drama magnets will continue to create conflict as long as they have people willing to engage in it. The best way to protect yourself is to establish boundaries and stick to them. Let them know that while you care about them, you will not be pulled into every crisis they create. Your peace of mind and emotional well-being must come first. By stepping back, you're not only protecting yourself, but also forcing the drama magnet to face their own patterns and perhaps reconsider their constant need for turmoil. In life, we will inevitably encounter individuals who drain our energy and disrupt our peace, whether they are chronic complainers, energy vampires, victims, manipulators, envious people, or drama magnets. Each of these personalities has the potential to weigh you down, dim your light, and distract you from your purpose. But here's the truth: you are not obligated to carry their burdens or fix their issues. Your responsibility is to guard your own peace, protect your energy, and set boundaries that allow you to thrive. The key to maintaining your emotional, mental, and even spiritual health is to recognize these negative influences early and establish firm boundaries. It's not about shutting people out or lacking compassion. It's about preserving the space you need to grow, achieve, and live a life of purpose. Not everyone is meant to be part of your journey, and those who will encourage you, uplift you, and respect your boundaries. Remember, you have the power to choose your environment. You have the right to protect your energy, focus on your goals, and surround yourself with those who bring light into your life. Guard your mind and heart as sacred, because they are the sources of your power, creativity, and joy. As you continue to grow, stay strong in your convictions, and never allow others to drain you of the very strength that fuels your journey forward. Set boundaries now, because your purpose is too great to be held back by the negativity of others.